Hi guys, Ace here, back with another video for you, and this is another 7th edition Batrep. And if you watched probably about the 3rd Batrep ago, you'll know I did a Batrep with Dark Angels, and we're going to have a bit of a rematch because it didn't end too great for the Dark Angels, so they've kind of regrouped and they're coming back. So I'm going to introduce Grant, and he'll just kind of talk me through a really cool kind of narrative that he's come up with for this game, and then we'll jump into the armies.
Sweet. Hello people, told you I'll be back. Well, here I am. Here we are again. Basically, last time everyone knows that Ezekiel kind of got stamped on. Asmodeus found him. I've put him in a cryo tank probably for a while, and he's you know, he's got a bit postal. He's just gone straight to the armory. He's pulled out all the fancy toys, and he's coming back with some pain in mind. Of course, he's completely unauthorised to do this, so he's going to be called to account probably later. Just a quick one out of game fluff background theme. A couple of quick shouts. One for Chung Chow and WGC. Viva Chung Nation and Brittany. Hello. Happy belated birthday. Sorry it didn't happen last month, but stuff happens, you know, real life. And I'll leave it back to Ace.
Right, so first of all, this is 2,000 points of Dark Angels, and we are playing the Crusade with 3 objectives. So I'll leave it with Grant to introduce his army.
Right, let's start, shall we? Just so I've got my information handy, it's quickly scribbled. Right, I'm rocking 10 scouts, sniper rifles, camo cloaks, missile launcher with the usual options including flak, veteran sergeant, 10 tactical marines, veteran sergeant, flamer, missile launcher with flak. Here we go, pretty much the same sort of setup, only with the plasma gun in place of the flamer. Asmodai, notice I use the old model because the old one looks like a kind of messed up version of Dr. Doom. 2 Mortis Dreads was good, 3 is better. So this time I'm rolling 3, bringing an extra one with twin link las cannons. The rest are, as you see, missile launchers are standard and upgraded to twin linked auto cannons ×2. So over here we've got a company master rocking a thunder hammer and a storm shield.
And this guy's the warlord.
This guy will be the warlord, yeah. We've already rolled for the traits and he got the one which gives you bonus to reserve rolls, which is great. He's rocking with 9 assault marines. We've got a flamer in here, guy with the plasma gun, veteran sergeant's got a power sword, and they're rocking the free drop pod. Now it comes to the fun stuff. Here we have a relic, Whirlwind Scorpius. You'll have 1 relic in your detachment, but because I've taken Interrogate Chaplain, I can have as many as I like, which is good. All kinds of wacky rules with that. Death Storm, because, well, last time I don't think it did particularly well, but I'd want to give it the benefit of the doubt, so we'll see how it does this time round. Straight old Nephilim, you know, packing the old Avenger bolt cannon, other than that pretty much standard because you can't do anything with it. And then of course this, I'd like to thank everybody who suggested that I get one of these. I took a bit of an online poll and came back with a yes. So here we are, a Relic Fire Raptor. 225 points as standard because you can't actually give it anything extra, but it does come packed with a whole load of nasty. And that's my army.
And this is 2,000 points of Tyranids, and it kind of spreads the whole way along this table. I've not deployed it yet, but we just kind of chucked it out. There's no way I was getting in that corner because I've taken a lot more models than I normally would, just for a laugh. So head in the army is the Hive Tyrant, twin link Devourers, of course. Other than that, bare bones. The second one is exactly the same, again, just twin link Devourers, bare bones. For troops choices, we have 1 unit of 20 Stealers with a Broodlord. I think he's run away at the moment, but I'll find him in a minute. So 1 Broodlord, and the Broodlord is heavily decked out. In the next troops, we have 2 units of warriors. One is just standard warriors, and then the other one is from my formation and has the Barb Strangler. Then I have something I never ever take, but I thought why not, let's have a laugh. So I have got 30 Gaunts, Hormagaunts. Can't even say that because I say it so infrequently. So there's Hormagaunts, and there's the aforementioned Broodlord. For some reason he's hanging out with them at the moment.
Do I see that stupid venom throw?
So how can we forget him hiding, and that's what he does the whole game. So you've got the venom throw, as always, because you can't leave home without one. And as for the part of the rest of the formation, I have 3 Bivors, and then I have the X-Prime, and basically the formation means that I can take them outside the full sword, but also it gives pretty much everything twin linked, which is very handy. Then I've taken the Doom out. No, it's not the Doom, it's a Zoanthrope, but it's proxied by my old Doom model because it was gathering dust and he's such a cool model we had to come out. We've got 3 5 guard with impaler cannons, why not? And then I have 2 Khan fixes, 2 separate units. As I said, you might sound like there's a lot of heavies, but that's because I'm using formation. So there's 1 there and 1 there. Unfortunately, the only problem with having 20,000 points of NIDs is I couldn't find the Twin Link Devourers for them, so I was in a bit of a rush, but they do have Twin Link Devourers. For my Warlord trait, I got the Feel No Pain once I take a wound for the Hive Tyrant. Both my Hive Tyrants got Catalyst. This one got Paroxysm, the other one got Onslaught, and then the Zoanthrope, as well as having his Warp Blast and Warp Lance, he also got Psychic Scream, which is quite funny because that's basically what the Doom had, but unfortunately he's not coming down in any drop pods. And then obviously the Broodlord gets his standard. And
no Trigon this time?
No Trigon, and that is 2,000 points of NIDs. Okay, so deployment is done and we've gone a long ways down the board. So let's have a quick look at where we got. So the Dark Angel's over here, just around this bit of ruins. Got sort of the attacks all split up nicely around, grabbing a bit of cover. We've got the Flashy Whirlwind, which is going to cause grief for me. I'm pretty worried about that guy. Another attack squad there, and then we've got the 3 horrible Mortis Dreadnoughts, which are going to be a real issue to deal with. We've got Scouts infiltrated there and infiltrated there, and then everything else is in reserve, so it's going to be interesting. So let's have a look at the Tyranid deployment. So very classic swarm deployment, so we're pretty much going along the whole of the ward here, and just doing as much cheeky shenanigans as we can to try and grab that Shrouded from the Venom Throat. So even if you notice, Hormagaunts start here and they go around there, around there, around there, around there, around there to give me my Shrouded. So very cheesy, but it's the way you got to play it. There's the formation all sitting there, and then the 2 Flyrants pretty much at the back, fairly daunted by the amount of Skyfire that Grant has in his arsenal, but we'll have to see. A nice little bit is my infiltrators managed to just find enough space to get here. So we've got 20 Steelers with a decked out Broodlord sitting in the deployment zone just by these guys. So that's going to be interesting first turn for Grant. And we have one last thing to do. I'm going first at the moment. Grant, do you want to steal initiative?
I'll give it a whirl. Here we go. No.
No. So we go into Tyranid turn 1. I'll be back at the bottom of Tyranid turn 1. Right, bottom of Tyranid turn 1, the Nids came forward as pretty much as far as they could without losing their cheeky cover save from the Venom Throat. But tactically decided to keep the flying Hive Tyrants in the sky, as I didn't want to just give them an easy target first turn. So they kind of just hugged a bit of cover and just stayed around there. Everything else came moving forward, and then the Gene Stealers again came forward as far as they could. In a psychic phase, I rolled my onslaught on these guys, managed to get them forward 5 inches. If I'd rolled 6 inches, I would have been in range of the Contemptor. So that was a bit of a disappointment, but they still had a go and took out a couple of the scouts. So not too bad for them, but I would like it to be better. On the other side over here, the Bivors shot their twin link blast over onto the big kind of command squad. Did a few wounds, but nothing too tragic. But still, anything's better than nothing. But the main action came in from the Flying Hive Tyrant here, and the Warriors, who put their shots all into the scouts that were here. Went for my chance of first blood and got it. Just managed to take them out barely. They hung around with their camo cloaks, but thankfully I just about got through them. So that's more or less it. The only other thing that I did forget to mention is Psychic Phase didn't go so well because both the Tyrants that tried to get their catalyst both failed before even Grant needed to deny the witch, so that's not great. But other than that, a fairly successful turn for Tyranids as we go into Dark Angels turn 1. So bottom of Dark Angels turn 1, decent turn. As you can see from the dead pile, there's my dead Steelers, and there's some warriors and some Hormigons. So what happened? Well, the Dreadnoughts kind of adjusted slightly just to kind of manage to get some shots on the Steelers, which are over there. Everything else pretty much kind of either stood where it was, moved forward slightly, or turned an aim fire on the Steelers. The other thing that did happen was the drop pod came in with the Warlord and his unit. They jumped out there and tried to take some shots at the Hormigons. The cover helped them a bit because they're in range of the Venom Throat because of the long tail, but they still did a little bit of damage, mainly with the Flamer. So the real stars of the show was pretty much this group of attacks, which did really hammer the Steelers, took them down to under half strength, so they were a lot less potent than they would have been, but the Broodlord just managed to stay intact without taking a wound or having to do a lookout sir. The Flushy Whirlwind did pretty decent, so he fired over here after the Carnifex had already taken some damage from the missile launchers and other bits and pieces around. He also managed to take one more wound off him through that and a few of the gaunts around, so that was pretty eventful. So that Carnifex just hangs in on one wound. The guard went down by 1, but they're still in full strength there. So a pretty decent turn for Marines. They turn back quite nasty. There's still a lot of threats around, but a lot is still off the board. So all to play for as we go into Tyranid turn 2. Okay, right, end of Tyranid turn 2, a pretty decent turn for the Tyranids. So as to be expected, the Gene Stealers made it into combat over here and annihilated the big guy's unit, but he hero tanked on the Broodlord's challenge. They both swung and took 2 wounds each, mainly due to bad rolling for the Dark Angel, but you know, it was a pretty good epic combat. Other than that, the Steelers minced the Marines, and that was that combat. Over here, we tried to do a bit of crafty moving around because I just kind of know what's coming, and it's the flyboys come in and it could cause trouble for the Tyrants. So they went into fly mode, but they tried to hug some cover. So one sort of turned one way, flew up, and the other one swapped over here. So that's given me a little bit of cover as well as being in the sky. The Hive Guard got a little bit closer, and they took out the Mortis Dreadnought as you expect them to. Thankfully, well, not so thankfully for me, but I really wanted to get on the rear armour of that one, but couldn't quite make the angle. Carnifexes came up, managed to take out the lonely unit of scouts there. They were no match. Everything else pretty much shuffled around. The Biovores did pretty well. They put their large blast up onto the attacks up there, but only took out a couple, so took out 3, so not too great, but not bad. Other than that, the Exocrine kind of moved forward. I tried to use the cheeky onslaught on him, but rolled on one of my run range, so I didn't get where I needed to, but that's the way it goes. Other than that, both these 2 Tyrants have got Catalyst on them, which should make them a little bit more survivable, which is handy. But then in the main combat over here, Gaunts all got in. Unfortunately, the downside with my tactic of being daisy chained, not as many got in combat as I would have liked. Did alright, piled a few wounds, but Grant made most of his saves, so I only actually managed to take one guy out. When he swung back, he killed numerous numbers. So the Gaunts got very much wheedled down, but they're still there and they will hold them up for a long time with being fearless, so that kind of works for me. And that is the end of Tyranid turn 2. We go into Dark Angels turn 2, and we'll just see whether those flyers come in. Do you want to see where those flyers come in on camera, Grant?
Right, bear in mind my strategic trait gives me +1.
Yeah, so we're looking at 2s here.
First of all, we'll start with the Death Storm.
Yeah. Death Storm comes in.
Yep. Nephilim
comes in. Fire Raptor comes in. So it's going to be a whole world of pain for Tyranids. See you at the bottom of Dark Angels turn 2. Right, so bottom of turn 2, fantastic turn for the Dark Angels, amazing. Their flyers did amazingly well, they really wreaked havoc. So they all came in, as you've seen. So the drop pod came in with the mole missiles, did okay, but again, the Venom Throat kept most things alive, and there weren't a humongous amount of target for him. So he stood pretty firm there, lost a couple of wounds here and there, and then more or less everything else was the plane show, because these guys absolutely minced. Right, so they came in, and between the two of them, they wrecked all of the Hive Guard that were up there. They also wrecked both Carnifexes. Yes, one had one down, but still wrecked 5 wounds off toughness 6 creatures. So that was pretty damn impressive. So these guys absolutely caused mayhem. Over here in combat, the Dark Angel guy, I keep forgetting his name. Asmodeus. He stepped in, and he's in a challenge. So even though the Broodlord attacked first, well, he didn't attack first because of the concussed in the last combat. So he stepped in and he took him out. But now he's swarmed with Gene Stealers, so I do not expect him to last another turn, but stranger things have happened. So all in all, an amazing turn for the Dark Angels, really swung things around. We just have to see what I can do in Tyranid turn 3. So bottom of Tyranid turn 3, decent-ish turn, fairly even. The Nephilim went down to a Vector Strike and half the Twin Link Devourers. The other Tyrant took 2 hull points off the big plane. Everything else pretty much didn't do that much. The Steelers eventually won through, as they were likely to, and smashed out Gamza. So they're now consolidated as close to that Dreadnought to try and give them a bit of a headache. But they might come to a sticky end this turn if Grant decides to focus on them. So they could have had their last turn, but we'll see. Apart from that, it's more or less it. The Gaunts eventually went down. So the kind of command squad, the assault squad, which I was quite surprised about, but I think the long chain with the initial attack caused them a little bit of grief, and that was probably their downfall. But you never know, we'll see how it goes. We window them down a little bit, and we go on. And apart from that, that's more or less it. So we've got Warriors that are back here, the big unit here with all the malarkey and shenanigans going on, and a big guy with the 2 Tyrants on full strength. So it's very, very poised at the moment. Who knows what way it's going to go? It's very close. So we go into Dark Angels turn 3. So bottom of Dark Angels turn 3, and that's all it is. Can't believe it. It's been a long game, but anyway. So Dark Angels done pretty well. They've, even with dropping down into hover mode, did pretty well against the Warlord Hive Tyrant, taking him down to 1 wound, and then the other Hive Tyrant's also down to 1 wound, but he is on the floor, which is quite handy for me. Other than that, the Exocrine's pretty much full power. Got 1 unit of Warriors still standing with the Venom Throat and 2 of the Biovores left. The other unit of Warriors is still in full strength. The Marines did very, very well, whittling down the Gene Stealers just to 1 Gene Stealer. So there's 1 guy left. Can he be a hero and do something amazing? We'll have to see in the next turn. But at the moment, it's looking very favourable for Dark Angels as we go into Tyranid turn 4. So, bottom of turn 4, a little bit of a comeback by the Tyranids, still all to play for, but kind of went quite nicely for me. So, after this Hive Tyrant was grounded in his turn, that worked in my favour. So I got him close to this attack squad, and then finished off all but 1. Managed to stay in combat, which is awesome for me, because it means he can't shoot at me, so that's brilliant. The Gene Stealer then charged his Dreadnought and didn't manage to get a rend, didn't manage to do anything, but he whiffed in his hits back, so they're locked in combat, and that's awesome because he can't shoot at me. The Tyrant over here, star of the show, Warlord, after being absolutely decimated by that Fire Raptor, he got his arse handed to him for a turn, but he decided enough was enough. He went over the top of him and unloaded with 12 Twin Link shots. Just couldn't quite deal with it, rolled pretty hot, and that went down, but that was pretty handy. The Marines over here done fine. They withstood the volleys from the Warriors with no problem at all. So they're standing quite happy over there. The Exocrine got in range of the other Dreadnought and took that out, which was awesome. And the other guys stayed sitting here. The only problem with this is I'm right next to that thing, which is constantly getting on my nerves, but never mind. So it's all swang back, but it's all very much to play for. Both Tyrants on 1 wound, Exocrine a little bit taken down, and Warriors very much depleted. So we'll see going into Dark Angels turn 4. Right, so bottom of Dark Angels turn 4, going to potentially the last turn of the game. Not a bad turn for Dark Angels. They did pretty much everything they possibly could. The Dark Angels command squad there basically realised that time's running out and need to get an objective, so they started studying that way, and they did well on their run roll, so they're in range of that, which that means they are holding that. Hive Tyrant did what he was always going to do, which was just completely annihilate the last remaining guy and just sit there on there. So that's pretty interesting. The Gene Stealer, even though I rolled a 6, couldn't get the rending hit that I needed. Well, I did get the rending hit, but I didn't get the 6, which is what I needed to blow it up. And then when he hit back, he took me out. But it is sitting there and it can't do very much, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so that's not too bad. It can shoot, but it's stuck facing that way, which is kind of handy. Other than that, I mean, the drop pod there tried to take out some of the other Warriors over there, didn't do anything, and that is more or less it. So we go into Tyranid turn 5, and it still is very much all to play for. So Tyranid turn 5, did alright, could have done better. So the X-Fine came up, and it had some shots at this guy. Managed to survive with Storm Shield, so he's just down to 1. The combination of that and the Hive Turret unloaded, so he's done really well because there weren't that many people there. So he's holding out pretty nicely because he took a lot of shots on him, and he's done 1 wound, but he's doing all right. The Hive Tyrant over here assaulted the attack squad, and then he killed them all and consolidated behind that guy. And that is more or less it. The Warriors tried to get forward a bit further, but they're pretty much not going to do anything for the rest of the game, and these guys just sort of sat here. So, and that is it, going into Dark Angels turn 5.
Turn 5, yeah.
Turn 5, yeah. Well guys, so this game gets closer and closer as we actually rolled off just now, and the game's going on to turn 6. So, Tyrant over here managed to stay alive, but unfortunately this guy, he died to the Whirlwind, which has been a real bane. It's been an awesome unit and really caused me grief. So he got away from him and then chucked the strength 8 back at him, and then that was game over. So he went down. But apart from that, obviously this Dreadnought can't do very much because he's facing the wrong way, and that was more or less it. The Whirlwind over there tried to take one off the Warriors, did alright, but they're still standing. And we go into Tyranids turn 6. A very quick recap at the end of Tyranid turn 6. The Tyrant jumped in, got rid of the Whirlwind there. The Exocrine didn't do anything to it, but the Warriors managed to take out the Warlord there, so that stands unclaimed at the moment. And that is more or less it. So Dark Angels, they only have this attack squad and the Dreadnought, but who knows, they're going to go out fighting as they have all game. So we go into Dark Angels turn 6. Right guys, at the end of turn 6, it is an epic victory for the Tyranids, but one that made me sweat for the whole last 3 turns of the game. So in the end, the Hive Tyrant charged the Whirlwind that was sitting on that objective, finished that off, so it wasn't anywhere near an objective, so claimed that one. And the Warlord obviously had already gone down, and nothing else could really get close. So that was kind of it in a nutshell, but actually if it had ended turn 5, then potentially it would have been Grant's game. So it was all to play for right up until the end. So thanks very much, Grant. Epic handshake.
Yeah, epic handshake, mate.
And we'll have another game again soon. Alright?
Oh, Thoughts at the Bar.
Thoughts at the Bar next.
Yeah, I need a drink.
Hi guys, right, so we've got the final thoughts at the bar, and as you can probably see from my face, I'm exhausted. That was absolutely epic. So first of all, thank you very much, Grant. Thanks for the game again. Thanks for the rematch. Give me even more tougher time than you did last time, and I don't know how I could have a tougher game than that. So thanks very much. Right, so excuse me guys for the noise in the pub, but we're going to go over to the final thoughts. So I want to just ask Grant a few questions, see if we can give you some tips and bits and pieces if you're using Dark Angels and how best to take on the Tyranids. So Grant, favourite unit today, or man of the match?
Well, I suppose because it survived so long, it would actually probably be the relic whirlwind Scorpius.
Yeah, that thing was disgusting. So.
Yeah, it just kept dropping pies and lethally accurate, and even when it wasn't, because the extra flips.
So if you guys don't know, that's a Forge World model. How much points it was?
125.
125 points. So a real good addition to a Space Marine army. Really, really good. It was devastating. So really good. Other stars.
Fire Raptor.
Yeah, that thing was horrible.
God, that thing was disgusting. I mean, even I was like, oh my god, I didn't realise it was going to do that. It did. Yeah. Thank you to everybody who suggested it was, volunteers. Yeah, added to the plus.
Thank you.
+1, because honestly, God, all you guys, you are brilliant. Brilliant, seriously.
But yeah, no, it was devastating. It really cooked me, and I didn't think it would be the case, but the fact that I got rid of it, it was pretty much a turning point, because that thing single-handedly dealt with most of my army. So yeah, that was pretty devastating. So of the units that you took, is there something that you would probably leave out if you kind of knew my list? What was it that you didn't perform that well? What would you change?
To be perfectly honest, I don't think there's anything that didn't perform reasonably well. I mean, Asmodai on his own did infinitely better than Ezekiel did.
Yeah, he did.
Just murder fest.
Yeah.
Company Master and the Assault Marines actually did pretty well.
They tanked a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they wasted like 6-7 times their number of gaunts.
Yeah, they did very well.
Mortis Dreadnoughts didn't do too badly, but you kept your Hive Tyrants out of the way, and I was like, come on, give me a good line of fire, and I will take you out. But you just never gave me an opportunity.
The thing with the Mortis Dreadnoughts is they pretty much, a bit like my Steelers, in the fact that they told me what I had to do. So I had to play defensively because they would have annihilated the Tyrants. So that was kind of the big deal with them, and actually I think they got their point that they pretty much did what they needed to do. They caused a lot of grief, so definitely good units.
Nephilim actually did reasonably well for me. They're normally quite lacklustre and a little bit overcosted, but it did fly in and it did completely wipe out that Hive Guard.
Definitely no. I think it was, so for me, a really difficult one, because the army was quite well balanced throughout. There was a few things that did okay, but nothing did brilliantly. The Hive Tyrants did what they always do. They're fairly consistent, reliable. They lasted longer because I had to play defensively, which was kind of a pain, because I always like them to go straight up. But I think, unfortunately, boring as it might be, Venom Throat just keeping things alive, even though he didn't really do much.
Deathstorm did better this time, didn't it?
Deathstorm he did, but that Venom Throat just keeps things alive, and that first turn just managing to give so many things shrouded, it just kind of, it does so good. So again, if you haven't got one and you don't use one, go and get one now.
Yeah, or if you don't, or if you're fighting against one, assassinate it whenever possible.
Get rid of it. As far as what didn't work for me, well, I think the Warriors, they had to be there, just because they gave me that web, but they didn't really perform that well. Maybe I was a little bit held back too long, because maybe they could have got in there a little bit more, but they did alright. Everything else was pretty decent. The Genestealers did. I mean, the Hormagaunts pretty fluffed, but they still did enough to hold the Marines up for a couple of turns, which was what they were more or less there for. So all in all, they did alright. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Have you got any other comments or things that you can share with people?
Well, obviously most Dark Angel tactical squads, in fact most Dark Angels, because we've all got stubborn, at the very least, our units are tar pits, and people forget, when it comes to monstrous creatures, your Corrupt Grenade, sometimes it's your best friend. You're still going to get armour saved most of the time, but that's strength 6. You only need a couple to get through, and you'll generally find that you will murder an MC pretty quick.
How are you getting on with 7th edition?
Psychic phase is still kind of getting it in my head, and working out how to do it. I mean, obviously I didn't take a Psyker, so I wasn't casting anything offensively, and how it works with a defensive situation. And you didn't really do anything that I really wanted to stop that drastically, as I said. For Tyranids, most of their powers are kind of buffs rather than direct zaps, so I can live with that,
All in all, fantastic game. As I said, I've got a splitting headache now, where Grant has absolutely put me to the wire. So thank you again, and until the next time, please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Perfect.